The vicious fighting in Sudan has taken a new, disturbing turn. This week, the Sudanese armed forces lost control of a key province to a rival paramilitary group, as reports of harrowing atrocities continue to emerge. The vicious fighting, which has been raging for over 30 months, has left over 40,000 people dead, bringing about claims of genocide and 14 million more displaced. The result is one of the worst humanitarian crises in the world. Here's everything you need to know. The conflict in Sudan is between two main forces, the Sudanese military and the Rapid Support Forces, or RSF. The RSF is a paramilitary group, an unofficial army, which operates outside a country's legitimate military, but oftentimes uses similar training, tactics, and equipment. This week, the RSF comes of the provincial capital of El Fasher, the military's last stronghold in Sudan's Darfur region. Harrowing videos have since flooded social media purporting to show RSF troops killing and beating citizens attempting to flee El Fasher. According to the UN Sudan coordinator, it received credible reports of sexual violence towards women and young girls, as well as summary executions, which are extrajudicial killings that occur without a proper legal trial. Further grew after chilling satellite images emerged, showing large patches of discolored ground around clustered objects. At an El Fasher hospital, over 400 people were reportedly killed. The governor of Darfur shared a video that purports to show RSF fighters roaming the hospital as bodies lay on the floor. The Sudanese military and the RSF had previously worked together in staging a coup in Sudan in 2021, taking control of the country. However, the leaders of the two groups, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan of the Armed Forces and General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo of the RSF, had stark disagreements about the new direction of the country. The tensions culminated in April of 2023, when violence between the two groups erupted in the capital city of Khartoum after RSF troops were deployed around the country. In the 2.5 years of subsequent fighting, the two groups have been warring to take control over capital cities and provinces, leaving thousands dead, millions displaced, and parts of the country plunged into famine. The RSF has been accused of committing heinous atrocities such as ethnic cleansing of the ethnically mixed region of Darfur to build an Arab-ruled domain. In one of the Biden administration's last acts, former Secretary of State Anthony Blinken released a statement accusing the RSF of committing genocide. The RSF and allied militias have systematically murdered men and boys, even infants, on an ethnic basis, and deliberately targeted women and girls from certain ethnic groups for rape and other forms of brutal sexual violence. Those same militias have targeted fleeing civilians, murdering innocent people escaping conflict, and prevented remaining civilians from accessing life-saving supplies. Based on this information, I have now concluded that members of the RSF and allied militias have committed genocide in Sudan, Blinken wrote. In a video statement released by Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo following the capture of El Fasher, the RSF leader vowed to investigate any violations by his soldiers in the city.
لكن الآن لجان نظرة الفاشل، لجنة التحقيق تبدأ فوراً في تحقيق ومحاسبة أي جندي أو أي ضابط ارتكب جرم أو تجاوز حدوده في حق أي إنسان ده فوراً يتم القبض وعلنا أمام الجميع.
Over a decade ago, the nation of Sudan split into the countries of Sudan and South Sudan following a years-long civil war. As the region of Darfur falls into the hands of the RSF, fears are growing that Africa's third-largest nation will experience yet another split.
I would say that.
All right, Shalom. I'm going to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rechak, Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, that great millstone, for teaching me this truth. It's your brother, Rabbi Knapp, coming up with a lesson, Lord's will, edifying to the Lord's elect. And, you know, I'm just going through, seeing what's going on in the world, and I'm just going to go in the spirit and see where it takes me. As we can see, South Sudan and, you know, the war, this is October 31st, so, you know, don't think that Esau's not going to send military troops in these areas, man. Of course, he wants to get in there, and I wouldn't be surprised if he has something to do with anytime there's war, these weapons that are being used. If you look further into it, you're not going to be surprised that it's the world powers that be, and Esau's in power. All right. So he controls all these things. They've been living in there for all these civil wars, these border crises, these all of it, man. All of it has to do something with Esau. I didn't look too much into it, but it's just a common theme with the Edomites. You know, things that's going on in Haiti. Esau got something to do with that. You know, all these countries, man. He got his hand in. Let me grab a precept. It's a precept that says, meddle not in many matters. Ecclesiasticus 11. Let's go there, as a matter of fact. Let's go there in the, let's just go there. I'm going to start here. Ecclesiasticus 11 and 10. My son, meddle not with many matters, for if thou meddle much, thou shalt not be innocent. And if thou follow after, thou shalt not obtain, neither shalt thou escape by fleeing. So what this is saying is, when you meddle in a lot of matters, like Esau does, for example, being in everybody's business and creating all this chaos, eventually it's going to catch up with you to the point where you're not going to be able to escape the judgment that's going to come to you. All right, but let's see what AI Overview says. Ecclesiasticus, let's go to Sirach. They spelled somewhat alike, but they're not the same. Sirach 11 and 10 advises against engaging in too many pursuits, because it can lead to a sense of being overwhelmed and ultimately guiltless. The verse also suggests that trying too hard to achieve success will prevent you from catching up, and even running away will not allow you to escape the consequences. The verse emphasizes the futility of excessive effort in the pursuits of material gain, and its overall meaning is a warning to practice moderation and avoid getting bogged down by too many activities. And Esau's Mr. wants to be Prince of Peace, wants to go and solve every issue in the world that doesn't even pertain to him, is going to be the reason why he gets bogged down into too many activities, just like the Roman Empire. Let's find something out about the Roman Empire. Was the Roman Empire's military too expanded, and that's why it fell? Yes, the Roman Empire's overexpansion and large military played a significant role in its fall, and America is Rome 2.0, creating financial strain, because you got to put assets, resources in this area, resources in that area, creating financial strain, logistical challenges. Okay, because how are you going to constantly support and bring weapons in areas where other areas are affecting how much support? So you got to manage all of that. Each area is allotted whatever it needs to win the war. All right, and you can't, just like Ukraine, for example, you can't just spend $500 billion giving it to Ukraine, and then another war pop up in another area, and now you're broke, and that's a losing battle. So you just put 500 billion of your money in an area that you lost. So you lost 500 billion, so you can't even fund this other war you got over here. Creating financial strain, logistical challenges, and internal conflicts, especially here in the U.S., because your money's being spent in areas that are not pertaining to your country. Okay, the immense cost of maintaining such a vast territory like America and army led to excessive taxation, and that's why he's doing these tariffs that he's doing. Okay, because he knows he's about to go to war. He's already flirting with Venezuela. He's gonna be flirting with a lot of these European countries, especially with Russia expanding into places like Poland. I wouldn't be surprised if he's already in those areas and he's not telling you about it. Okay, because the propaganda machine is on high. Okay, all these countries push these propaganda machines. Gaza, I wouldn't be surprised if that's way worse than what they're telling you it is. Okay, so you can never trust this devil. You have to be in the mindset that is probably worse than what he's telling you, because he's the devil. All right. The immense cost of maintaining such a vast territory and army led to excessive taxation and the showing of technological progress, while the size of the military itself sometimes led to a shift in loyalty from the state to powerful generals. All right. So loyalty also, financial and administrative strain, high costs. Maintaining a large military across a vast territory was incredibly expensive, draining the empire's resources and leading to excessive taxation that burdened citizens. Now imagine back then when wars were fought differently. You go to Isaiah, I believe it's 9:5. It says, "For every battle of the warriors with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire." So imagine a warrior that had to fight with garments, the ancient way we used to fight with swords and shields. You got to feed your horses. You got to feed, your military, or they're not going to be able to make it to the battle. There's a perfect example in the book of, let me put Moab. I think it's Chronicles, maybe 20. Let me see if I can find it. But basically in this battle, I forgot which, it's one of these battles. It looks like it's 2 Chronicles, the 20th chapter, but let me see if there's any more. Let's go to 2 Chronicles 20 and 21. Judah invaded. Jehoshaphat's prayer. Jehaziel answers the prayer. Enemies destroy themselves. Right. Let's start here. 2 Chronicles 20 and 20. "And they arose early in the morning and went forth into the wilderness of Tekoa. And as they went forth, Jehoshaphat stood and said, Hear me, O Judah, and ye inhabitants of Jerusalem. Believe in the Lord your God, so shall ye be established. Believe his prophets, so shall ye prosper. And when he had consulted with the people, he appointed singers unto the Lord, and that should praise the beauty of holiness as they went out before the army, and to say, Praise the Lord, for his mercy endureth forever. And when they began to sing to praise, the Lord set ambushments against the children of Ammon, Moab, and Mount Seir, which were come against Judah, and they were smitten. For the children of Ammon and Moab stood up against the inhabitants of Mount Seir, utterly to slay and destroy them. And when they had made an end of the inhabitants of Seir, everyone helped to destroy another. And when Judah came toward the watchtower in the wilderness, they looked unto the multitude, and behold, they were dead bodies, fallen to the earth, and none escaped. And when Jehoshaphat and his people came to take away the spoil of them, they found among them in abundance both riches with the dead bodies and precious jewels, which they stripped off for themselves, more than they could carry away. And they were 3 days in gathering of the spoil. It was so much. That's not what I'm looking for. Moab kills his sons on the wall to escape Judah. Is it 2 Kings? Yeah, let's go there. 2 Kings 3. I think that's what I'm thinking about. The point of the matter is the resources that it took in the war. That's what I'm trying to give a biblical account of. 2 Kings chapter 3. Jehoram meets Moab rebellion. Yes, this is it. You know what? 2 Kings. Let's go to 2 Kings 3, and I'm gonna let him read it, so because they can just read right through it. and I can just stop it. Maybe that'll be easier. See if we can get some audio. What's going on here? 2 Kings 3, man. English, 2 Kings.
The second book of the Kings. Chapter 1.
No, that's not what I want. Okay, they can't help me on this. I thought you can just read it.
Moab rebels against Israel. Now Jehoram the son of Ahab began to reign over Israel in Samaria the 18th year of Jehoshaphat king of Judah, and reigned 12 years. And he wrought evil in the sight of the Lord, but not like his father, and like his mother, for he put away the image of Baal that his father had made. Nevertheless he cleaved unto the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, which made Israel to sin, he departed not therefrom. And Mesha king of Moab was a sheep master, and rendered unto the king of Israel 100,000 lambs, and 100,000 rams, with the wool. Moab rebels against Israel. Now Jehoram the son of Ahab began to reign over Israel in Samaria the 18th year of...
I don't want to hear that. I'm going to get to the point. Let's jump down to 2 Kings 3 and 20. And it came to pass in the morning when the meat offering was offered that, behold, there came water by the way of Edom, and the country was filled with water. And when all the Moabites heard the kings were come up to fight against them, they gathered all that were able to put on armor and upward and stood in the border. Damn, I actually kind of got to read it all. But, you know, let's get a summary of the chapter. Second Kings chapter 3 summary. In 2 Kings chapter 3 describes the war between an alliance of Israel, Judah, and Edom against the rebellious Moabites. After running out of water, the allied kings seek the prophet Elisha's counsel, who provides a miraculous water supply. The chapter concludes with the Moabite king sacrificing his son to his god, causing a great wrath among the attackers and forcing them to retreat. It has some weird wordplay in 2 Kings, the 3rd chapter, but the Moabites in that case, it caused Israel to look, when they sacrificed their son, it made them like, they didn't even pursue after the Moabites. It was insane. Okay, but the point of the matter is the coalition in the crisis. King Jehoram of Israel forms a military alliance with Jehoshaphat of Judah. So Jehoram would be of Israel, which is the northern kingdom, and Judah, Jehoshaphat of Judah would be the southern kingdom, and the king of Edom to suppress the Moabite rebellion. During their match, the combined armies run out of water for their troops and livestock. The kings, desperate, turn to the prophet Elisha for guidance, though Elisha initially dismisses the king of Israel, saying he should consult the prophets of his own father's gods. Elisha's prophecy in the miracle. Elisha promises a miraculous water supply that will appear the next morning, along with a prophecy of victory over the Moabites. The following morning, a dry stream fills with water, which reflects the sun, making the Moabites believe the allied army had fought among themselves and was covered in blood. The battle and the king of the Moabs. Final act, the Moabite army, misled by the sight of the water, is routed by the allied forces. The attacking armies devastate the Moabite cities, but the king of Moab, trapped in the city of Ker-Harasheth, makes a horrific sacrifice of his eldest son to his god. This act evokes a powerful and terrifying reaction in the attackers, leading to the end of the siege and the retreat of the allied armies. So the point of the matter is, that running out of resources. The Lord used that to bring forth a miracle, okay? But the point of the matter is it cost a lot to the water, during their match, the combined armies run out of water for their troops and livestock. You can't fight without your troops and your livestock being fed and watered. Okay, I guess I could have said that. But the point of the matter is that's the reason why Rome fell. Okay? Slower development. Funds diverted to military upkeep meant less was available for other infrastructure and technological advancements, causing civil infrastructure to fall into disrepair. And that's what we're falling into now, a disrepair. No SNAP benefits, no things of that nature. As a matter of fact, I forgot, I had a video. Something blew up in Mexico just now. I don't even, was it here? I forgot where it was. All right, so long story short, these things are gonna happen again, and we can see these things happening by him not funding certain areas, but he wants to do nuclear testing, but he's making it seem like it's not the same reasons why the ancient Roman Empire fell. Logistical nightmare. The sheer size of the empire made administration, communication, and defense incredibly difficult as it struggled to protect its far-flung frontiers. And this Roman Empire 2.0 is much bigger than the ancient Roman Empire, and they're falling into the same things. Internal and military issues, shift in loyalty. And according to Obadiah, there's going to be a lot of shift in loyalty. Over time, soldiers' loyalty shifted from the Roman city to their generals, who could promise them rewards and power, contributing to civil wars and internal instability. And this is what we be talking about. This is what we're preparing ourselves for, because we understand that there's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new, man. Ecclesiasticus, the first chapter, goes into that. Ecclesiasticus chapter 1. And I start at 8. All things are full of labor. Man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. The thing that have been, it is that which shall be. And that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. So all these things are the same thing, going over and over, same thing. Same type of situations are playing out in this time, just like in ancient times. Okay. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It had been already of old time, which was before us. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. So there you go. There you go. No new thing under the sun. So these things are happening again, and we're just reading about it. Recruitment problems. As the military became more demanding and less rewarding, it became harder to recruit native Romans, leading to an increased reliance on auxiliary and mercenary forces. Okay, and you can't fight with just auxiliary and mercenary forces. That's why all these wars are going on, man. He'd rather fund them to bring about these proxy wars and things like that. Manpower drain, constant warfare and epidemics, such as the plague during Marcus Aurelius' Parthian campaign, severely depleted the empire's manpower. And I wouldn't be surprised if we have more plagues coming. Okay, let me read this one.
Yeah.
get this.
President Trump vowing possible sanctions and saying on Truth Social, quote, radical Islamists are responsible for the mass slaughter. I am hereby making Nigeria a country of, quote, particular concern and entrusting Congressman Riley Moore and other lawmakers to immediately look into this report and report back to me. West Virginia Representative Riley Moore joins us now. Congressman, thank you for joining us and thank you for your continued efforts in bringing attention to this matter. I'm going to say what's going on there, and I know it's tough, but people...
So these Christians are dying in Nigeria, and Trump is vowing to pretty much try to stop the slaughter that's going on over there. But when you look at the middle of this video, you got, what do you got here? A white Jesus Christ.
President Trump...
Fudge is a country called Nigeria worshiping this image. This is the image of Jesus Christ, which is not biblical. Okay, it's not a biblical image. Okay, the scriptures speak against your God that you worship. Revelation 1 verse 9, I, John, who also am your brother, meaning he's an Israelite, and companion in tribulation and in the kingdom and patience of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, the letter J was created in 1524 by Giorgio Trissino, was in the isle that is called Patmos for the word of God and for the testimony of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. So what he's telling you is he was locked up when he was writing this epistle. I was in the spirit on the Lord's day and heard behind me a great voice as of a trumpet, saying, I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last, and what thou seest write in a book and send it unto the 7 churches which are in Asia Minor. Which are in Asia, Salakia, unto Ephesus, and unto Smyrna, and unto Pergamos, and Thyatira, and unto Sardis, and unto Philadelphia, and unto Laodicea. And I turned to see the voice that spake with me, and being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a white garment, down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. And his head and his hairs were white like wool, which means the head and his hairs were white like wool. The hairs in his head were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. See, when I forgot what pastor it was, the one that IUIC blitzed, I forgot his name, but Christian pastor, he was like, what are you trying to say? His head was white and his hairs were like, because you don't got the spirit, man. If you're saying things like that, you got to understand this was a translation from Hebrew to English, and that's what his head and his hairs were white like wool, or his hairs in his head were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. And we all know this image doesn't have white hair, his eyes are blue, and his skin is white. Because Esau made it like that because he's the damn devil that we keep telling you about. You don't want to believe it. But oh well, it's time for you to die now. It's almost time. Okay, we're getting to that point where the Lord tells you not, don't even pray for the wicked. And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. Okay, so his feet are not brown like as if it burned in a furnace. Your feet are the same color as the rest of your body. This doesn't fit the image of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach.
Is taking action in response.
And people are dying over that. People are guarding this place, man. This place needs to be destroyed. This whole lie needs to stop. Okay, it needs to stop. And this is how he infiltrates, gets into your country, and sets up puppet governments. And then that's how you know all these governments are corrupt, because they all have that image. And don't get me started on Islam and things like that. But in all actuality, it just goes to show you that, as much as you might be smarter than them, you still going off. Okay, the spirit got to be dealing with you, because you can trade one God for another and be just be going off, man. Ecclesiasticus 12 verse 10, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped the looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place, neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh a wild beast? So never trust your enemy. Okay, he's like iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Basically telling you that Esau Edom doesn't change. He's the devil that the Bible's talking about, and he'll use any craftiness to get in your. He's been using the same plan over and over, and you guys still fall for it.
On to the killing of thousands of Christians in Nigeria.
Christians in Nigeria, but they serve him. Caesar Borgia. And you wonder why you're getting put to death. You ain't serving the Lord, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai.
President Trump vowing possible sanctions and saying on Truth Social, quote, radical Islamists are responsible for the mass slaughter. I am hereby...
They're responsible for the mass slaughter, but who's responsible for the deceiving?
By making Nigeria a country of, quote, particular concern.
Meddling in many matters.
And entrusting Congressman Riley Moore and other lawmakers to immediately look into this report and report back to me. West Virginia Representative Riley Moore joins us now. Congressman, thank you for joining us, and thank you for your continued efforts in bringing attention to this matter. I'm going to say what's going on there, and I know it's tough, but people need to hear it. Christians are being macheted, burned alive. They're being forced to, dig their own graves before they're buried alive. They're being raped, they're being killed, they're being starved. Why have we not been hearing more about this?
Well, Rachel, the mainstream media has just turned a blind eye to this, but this network specifically has been giving me and others a platform to actually talk about that. So I do really want to thank you so much for doing that and highlighting it, because it has made a difference. We're talking about between 50,000 and 100,000 Christians have been slaughtered in Nigeria since 2009. And we did have a designation on them.
Since 2009, so you allowed this to go on that long. Anyways, when you go on, let's go to Doug's Truth Social, see what he has to say about this, because I know he put a post somewhere. Where's the duck at? Where's the duck, man? Let's just put it in. Here's the duck. Where did he say? He had a quote I'm looking for. Trump on Nigeria. Post. Trump on Nigeria. Remember, Republicans, regardless of the Schumer shutdown, the Democrats would terminate. I don't know. You know what? Trump on Nigeria. Let's see what X has to say. Yeah, if the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria, and may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns a-blazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. I am hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible action. If we attack, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet. just like the terrorist thugs attack our cherished Christians, warning the Nigerian government better move fast. And that was today, all right? But then you got to send resources, you got to do all these things. And he's already sending resources and not sending them to you, but he's sending it to other countries, all right? So if he is still sending aid and things like that over there, don't think he don't have, I want to say him specifically, but Esau, whoever is running the show, which is the Edomites, according to Job 9:24, whatever plans he has in that area is probably to steal your resource, because the thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and destroy. But I'm going to end it here. Lord's will, this was at a